Yeah, it is a disagreement. So, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so most reasonable people in this room would agree that equality of opportunity is a value that we all love in the West. Do you not think that there's certain situations where there may be a deprived family with such terrible constraints in their lives, like a mother that's suffering from illness or problems with drugs in their families, that actually socialism might be a necessary political tool to actually give them the platform they need to participate in the market, in the free markets that you talk about? Because if say, imagine you didn't have time to, have this vision of a business you wanted to create, what do you do at that point?
Ask a real person who lived it.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at, I'm the person that you're talking about. You're imagining it, I lived it, right? So I told you I came from absolutely nothing. My mom was one of 9 brothers and sisters, 5 of them which grew up in prison. I grew up visiting my uncles in prison. I can't even, in an abusive home, and had the entire world was against me. I defied incredible odds because I live in a free market society and a capitalist society, and I didn't turn to the government to fix it. I didn't blame the white man. I didn't blame the rich man. I didn't blame the tall man. I decided to figure out what it is that I can contribute to society, what I'm good at, and I buckled down and I worked hard. There is no substitute for hard work. And socialist is the creed. It is a creed that makes you think that there is somehow. Like now, hey Candace, you didn't start in the same place that Charlie started in. He's white, he's straight, he's male. He grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, so you should be able to take from him and start your life better. And that's not true. And let me also say something. It's much more rewarding. Do you know how much better I feel today sitting up here knowing that I did it by myself and I didn't have someone out there virtue signaling for me saying take something from Charlie and give it to Candace, and I fought my way? That is what a free market, free society allows. You can come from absolutely nothing and make something of yourself. My grandfather did the exact same thing. He started his life on a sharecropping farm. You want to talk about systemic inequality? It was blacks only, whites only, had KKK shooting into his home at night, and had his first job when he was 5 years old laying out tobacco to dry. Now my grandfather lives on that sharecropping farm as the owner of it. That's what America is all about. That's what free markets and capitalism is all about, and that's why I do what I do. So I don't think that socialism helps. No, I think opportunities help, and those are the things that we want to protect.
And I think giving people a hand up rather than hand out isn't socialist, it's compassionate. And the free market's the only way where you can actually have enough resources to when people find themselves in those situations, and it's maybe different people might disagree in the UK, that actually a smaller welfare state, but it's still there to help people when they do find themselves in situations, but not that they end up having to rely on them and say that, okay, well now your mother was like this, you'll be like this, your next generation, and that's where the problem of socialism lies in. Rather than giving them that safety net for that one-off time when they find themselves there so they can build up, it then says, you rely on us, we'll give you handouts consistently, and that's where the problem that I find.
Exactly right, because I have cousins, as a case study, who took the handouts and grew up exactly like me. My cousins took the handouts, went on welfare, they're still on welfare, still living a terrible life with multiple babies out of wedlock. Because they went to go pursue that socialism that you think is meant to help people, ultimately just hurts them because it makes them not go after the things that they should, because their back is not against the wall. So they spend all their time, my cousins, trying to figure out how to scheme the system, because they want to get more from the government. Well, I spend all my time trying to figure out how to make something of myself, and I stand better off.
So, of course, I'm not advocating, victim, pretending to be a victim or anything like that. And obviously, by the sounds of it, your family has great resolve, and everyone knows that the civil rights movement had great resolve, and it was that grit which got them the civil rights that they needed. But there are still certain people that through their own, that are limited in perhaps their intelligence or there's certain limitations that I just think.
The only difference is excuses. If you accept the excuses, you're never going to make anything of yourself. And unfortunately, we live in a society that's programmed people to accept the excuses over and over and over again.
But the thing is that the NHS in this country was founded on not this kind of virtue signalling idea. It was just a desire to help those that were most deprived, and can that not coexist with free markets and
No, as you heard the
So-
question before, no one's here said about getting rid of the NHS, or we've just said maybe running it more efficiently and using some of the principles the free market derives to make it more efficient, and that we spend less of your money on a system that's actually constantly creaking at the seams and not delivering for people the outcomes that they choose to and that they want the system to deliver.
I mean, look, and the NHS was born out of an era of extreme hardship of this country, which was obviously in the aftermath of the greatest sacrifice of human life that had ever gone before. I mean, it was a radical time, radical policies, radical governments. Churchill lost the election, and Clement Attlee came in, and it was Butskellism as the mantra of the time when some founding sort of core values of our current society were founded. It was a very, very different time, right? And I mean, there was enormous hardship at that time, right? But the market actually was the one that pulled us out.
One last thing. Government doesn't have to always do it. In the States, we have the greatest story of charity in the history of the world. We give $500 billion away, privately, citizen to citizen, a year. $500 billion a year. We still, in America, there is an unbelievable creed that, why not churches? Why not communities? Why not mosques? Why not synagogues? Why not local centers? And if you go to the States, time and time again, anyone who grew up in poverty will tell you, and Candace would agree, that it's the private charities that do a much more effective job of helping people than the government systems, time and time again. So it doesn't always have to be government. And what really depresses me in Europe is I've seen the deterioration of private charity. It's almost not cultural anymore. In the States, it is bred into our upbringing that you give 10% of everything you earn away. That's how I was raised in the Midwest. And it's different regionally, but no matter what it is, you give 10% to charity, and once you make it, you give 90% to charity. I don't know if that's the case here.
You want to look at some interesting statistics. Look at the amount of money which is given by people in this country to charity versus the tax rate. It's remarkable. It's remarkable statistics.